Dunne with us in Washington, D.C. He's the director of the Middle East and North Africa programs at Freedom House and was actually one of those workers convicted in Absentia. And Charles, I believe you've received a 5-year jail term for that. Actually, how does that feel, if you don't mind me asking? The fact that you're there in Washington, but the knowledge that a government halfway across the world wants you in jail.
Yes, this is a government where I also, in a country where I spent 3 years as a diplomat, as a matter of fact. So it's a personal disappointment for me and kind of a shock because we were expecting possibly lesser or a mix of sentences. And this is a clear message to organizations like ours to stay out of Egypt.
The court says you were illegally, and the other groups, illegally using funds to encourage unrest in Egypt. How have they justified that? An NGO encouraging unrest?
Well, they haven't. I mean, there's no evidence for that, and that's simply untrue. The charges are obviously political. What we were doing in Egypt is working with our 5 Egyptian employees that formed our entire office to work with a number of Egyptian organizations to help solidify civil and human rights in the country. I don't see how that can possibly encourage unrest.
This was the stuff which people would have said, you know, should have changed, I guess, since there has been a change in leadership in Egypt since Hosni Mubarak stepped down. Why do you think it's not changed?
Well, I think there are a number of different reasons. For one thing, the Muslim Brotherhood that now forms much of the government of Egypt still seems to want to run the country as a secret society, and it is not a consensus-seeking organization. That's at least the way it has not ruled so far. There are a lot of holdover elements from the Mubarak era as well, who don't want to see their power slip away. One of them initiated this case against us, the Minister of International Cooperation, in the last couple of years. So I think it also reflects a power struggle among different elements of the Egyptian government who see this as a political football and some way to gain advantage over others.
So do you and other NGO groups, now non-government organisational groups, have to look ahead at Egypt and sort of think, oh well, you know, their country, their rules, we'll just have to stay out of it?
Well, we're going to have to stay out of it if this court ruling stands. We will be illegal in Egypt. And if the new law governing NGOs passes, that is going to essentially criminalize the kind of work we do. It's going to be very, very difficult to operate in Egypt in the future if both these things happen.
Charles, I'm very interested in talking to you. Charles is from Freedom House, NGO organisation to do with these in absentia trials in Egypt today. Thanks for that.